margin, if you have a question about something or there's something that you want to understand, you're going to make a little note on the left-hand side of your page in the margins, and we'll go over that afterwards, okay?
Once upon a midnight ferry, I pondered deep and weary over many acquaintance stories falling from the high. While I nodded nearly nothing, suddenly the thing happened, as if someone gently dreaming. Since some visitor I knew, tapping at my chamber door, only this, and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember. It was in the deep December, and separate dying ember brought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished them all. Only had I sought to borrow from my books assistance of sorrow, sorrow for the lost we know, for the rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels named Lenore. The name is here, forevermore.
Okay, never mind, we're not going to listen to this. It's not loud enough. And I think we're too sleepy this morning. Maybe we'll listen to that next time. Okay, so instead of listening to it, so we don't fall asleep, we're going to read it, okay? So, first stanza on the top of page 1, okay? I want everyone to follow along. I'm going to read the first one for us. It starts out with the speaker saying, "Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. 'Tis some visitor," I muttered, "tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more." Okay, so first thing that we need to look at, we have a couple of footnotes in this stanza. Can somebody take a look at the footnote for pondered and tell me what that means? Thought about, right? So we know that our speaker is thinking about something, right? And then he describes how he's feeling. He says he's weak and weary. What does weak and weary mean? Weak and tired. Okay, weak and tired. Does everyone see that on the bottom of the footnote? Awesome. Okay, so we know that he's thinking about something. We know that he's tired, right? And then he goes on to say that he's thinking what he's thinking about, right? He's telling us what he's thinking about. He says, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. Eduardo, what is a lore? A legend, right? So a legend is like a story, right? An old story kind of thing. Okay, so he's thinking about some kind of legend, right? And then he says, while I nodded, nearly napping. So he's weak, he's tired, he's almost asleep. He says, suddenly there came a tapping of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. Okay, so we're hearing some noises now. What are we hearing? Okay, we're hearing some tapping, right? And where is the tapping coming from, Priscilla? The front door, right? And it's more specific. It says a specific door of his chamber. What is a chamber? Private room. Right? So it's at his room, right? There's a tapping. And then it tells us that he says, right? So we have some quotation marks. So we know now that there's a dialogue. Levante, what is he saying at the end of that stanza? What dialogue do we see? What's in quotation marks? Okay, yeah, he's saying that there's some visitor, right? It starts out with some visitor, and then he says, tapping at my chamber door, only this and nothing more. Okay, so let's think about the few seconds that we did listen to of the audio recording. What background noise did we hear in there? Does anyone remember? What's that? Okay, so we know that there's going to be tapping, right? But in the video, there's also some background music, right? And some other sound effects like lightning. Okay, I don't know if you guys can really hear it, but there's like some lightning, maybe some like rain in the background, something like that. Okay, and he's telling us that the night is midnight, right? What's upon a midnight dreary? He says it's dreary. Does anyone want to, or does anyone think that they can tell me what dreary means? Tyra?
Like, the atmosphere is like sad and damp.
Okay, yeah, right? It's like dull, it's kind of depressing, sad, right? So we know that there's a storm, right? Based off of some of the things that we heard in that video, okay? And we know that it's midnight, and we know that he's describing the midnight as what, Asia? Yeah, as dreary, which means like sad or depressing, okay? So that's kind of setting an idea, giving us an idea of what kind of mood he might be in or what the setting is like, okay? And then he goes on and he's talking about a visitor at his door. He's hearing tapping. How do you think you would feel if it's dark, it's midnight, you're home alone, and it's kind of a scary, sad night, and all of a sudden you hear tapping at your door? How might you feel? Maybe scared, right? Maybe a little bit surprised, nervous, right? Awesome. Okay, so let's keep in mind, it's this dreary night. He's alone, he's at home, and he hears tapping. And he's trying to tell himself something. He says, oh, it's some visitor. It's at my chamber door and nothing more. Carlos, what do you think he's trying to do when he says that there's a visitor at my door, there's nothing more? Only this and nothing more. Okay, and why would he be saying, oh, it's only a visitor? What might he be trying to do? If he's home and he's alone? Okay, yeah. Anthony, what were you saying? Okay, he's trying to convince himself that everything is fine, right? He doesn't want to be scared, right? So he's trying to like talk himself out of it. He's like, oh, it's fine, it's just a visitor, right? Someone who's stopping by. What's that? What? He's what?
In denial.
Oh, in denial. Yeah, sorry. He's in denial of what might be happening, right? We don't know what's happening either, right? Awesome. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is answer our initial comprehension question on the right side of the chart, okay? So, thinking about all those things that we just talked about, I want everyone to take a second to look at the question and the answer choices and see if we can figure it out, okay? So I want to see everybody circling an answer when they're ready. You guys are already a step ahead of me. Okay, so I think we all have an answer down. So now I want you guys to turn to people at your table group and see if you guys have the same answer or if you have anything different. Okay, so everyone should be sharing with their partners. So, you guys checking each other's answers? What do we have? No, mine doesn't exist yet. Do you guys have the same answer or something? So what do you think? Who do you think might be right?
Door.
You don't know?
No, we got B.
No, you guys can figure it out. So why do you say this? Where? What? I don't know.
I thought it said this is
Yeah, it is. So why did you choose this? What made you think this? Where did this say? Where did this say? So Jonathan has the same answer, right? You have the same answer? Okay. Jonathan, will you share for us when we come together? Alex, will you share for us? Okay, so guys, let's bring it back together. So our question said, Craig, could you read the question for us, please?
What is the speaker doing in the first hand?
Awesome, thank you. And Alex, what did you put down for what is the speaker doing in the first stanza?
B, thinking.
He's thinking, right? We found out that he's thinking. And how do we know that he's thinking?
The word ponder.
Because it tells us he was pondering, right? So what word in this and in these answer choices could be confusing? Sarah?
Probably B and C because
Probably what?
B and C.
Okay, you think that those two could be mixed up? Okay. So then what made you end up choosing that he was thinking?
Because it
Instead of
says,
reading?
wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because it said,
Exactly, right? He's pondering, he's thinking. Andres.
Could he be rapping?
So why would you say that he might be rapping?
You have to get like change doors, really this and everything.
Okay, so he's hearing tapping at his chamber door, right? And then it says rapping. So when he says rapping, do we think that he means he's rapping like how a rapper raps on the radio now?
No.
What might he mean instead? Okay, maybe it's a different word for tapping, right? Knocking. Yes, Tara. So why would we think that maybe he's reading? What is he reading?
He's reading a song. And it says the speaker.
Oh, okay, so I see what you're saying. So the speaker is technically speaking